So I thought I'd just show off this Orrery that I've been working on. So as you can see on the side, lots of parts. It's making my computer run a bit loud. You can probably hear it in the background. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I made it upon request, so someone asked for it, and I was like, yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. We'll make that. So we start with the sun gear in the middle. Sun gear spins the opposite way to the planets. Doesn't really matter for the purposes of this because it just shows the location of the planets instead of also showing their correct rotations. So the sun starts here, we spin it once at the end of every month, which then updates the positions of all the planets. So we start with Mercury, Venus, and so on. So pretty early on, we don't need much of a reduction, which is kind of nice. So then we go out and we do need compound gears to get to the next one, and then we need kind of more intense compound gears as we go out, kind of depending on the real world distances between things. So I tried to keep the distances between the planets fairly consistent because it looks nicer aesthetically, but it also means some of them need to be kind of more intense with our gears. Like this is a pretty intense reduction there. But yeah, so we've got our 8 planets. It's a fairly large Orrery, but it's pretty nice. So it's all self-supporting. So the plan is to put it on a back plate with all the gears in. And I haven't made a back plate here because it'd be more fun to make it by hand, I reckon. And it doesn't really matter how well aligned these gears are as long as it fits. There'll be an orientation where they all fit, and each gear is a separate piece. So you place it in, and then we'll just glue the top and bottom together, so the alignment will always be perfect. And even though the tooth is inside, it does still rotate and everything works. It's just I can't really change it for all of them because my computer can't handle it. I'm sure you can hear it going in the background. It's loud. But yeah, so Orrery, pretty nice, pretty happy with it. And SolidWorks has made it pretty easy. So there was a bit of challenge once we started getting really big teeth because there's a limit to how many teeth you can make within the SolidWorks tooth gear creation tool. But you know, there's a workaround. It's all good. So SolidWorks is pretty handy. It also lets you create engineering drawings. So I've made a few of them. So explaining what's going on, how it's assembled, so the different symmetries of each kind of stage of the Orrery. So some of them are two support gears, some are 3, and some are 5. And that's kind of allowed us to keep it nice and flat because that was the challenge. Someone was like, how flat can you make an Orrery? And I'm like, I reckon I could make it pretty flat. Typically they're not very flat, but making a flat one was interesting. So we've got the exploded view way down the bottom here, and it doesn't really add a whole lot in terms of telling you new information, but it's a nice way to visualize how many layers there are. So that's pretty handy. And it's only 3-4 layers thick once you include the back plate. So if I was to laser cut it with something, it could be actually reasonably thin, and it would be nice to mount it on the wall, which is kind of something I've thought about doing. Don't have a laser cutter, so probably not going to do it. And I'm definitely not going to make these gears by hand. Some of them have easily 300 teeth, which is just a bit many, and I don't really want to be cutting that by hand. And you know, by the time I do cut it by hand, it's not going to be very nice. But yeah, we've got our parts list. SolidWorks is great. Just, you know, tell it all the parts, put it all in a drawing. SolidWorks makes it so much easier than doing it, I guess, manually. Right, so we also got our amazing exploded view, which is, you know, SolidWorks makes it super easy to make an exploded view, which is just great because exploded views, they just look nice, and the animation is gorgeous. What more could you want, you know? Gorgeous.